We're going to review our rules of exponents from yesterday, the product rule, the quotient rule, and the negative exponent rule. And we're also going to add a few more. So for the warm-up, let's take a look at what we did, the 3 rules from yesterday. The product rule, if you have the same base, what do you do with the exponents? And again, if you forget, write it out. This is 3 to the 4th, which means 3 fours, times 3 squared, which means 2 more. And if you count all the 3's, this is 3 to the 6th. So the rule was if you have the same base and they're being multiplied, you can add the exponents. The quotient rule, again, if you forget, write it out. Let's say we had 5 7s on top. We had 2 7s on the bottom. If you cancel, how many are left and where? This is 7 to the 3rd power. And if you look, the 5 and the 2, if you subtract them, you get the 3. So here, this is a to the m minus n power. You can subtract the exponents. In the negative exponent rule, if it's negative, you can flip it and make it positive. So this will be 6 squared. A to the negative n is the same as a to the n. You can flip it. If it's negative on top, you can flip it to the bottom and make it positive. So this is the same as 1 over a to the n. So we're just going to practice these rules today and add a few more. So the first rule is called the zero exponent rule. Try typing the following in on your calculator. So here's how you type in 4 to the 0 power. I'm on a scratch pad sheet here. 4. Here's to the power of, it's called the caret key. It looks like the roof of a house. 4 to the power of 0. And that's 1. Okay, so let's write that down. This is 1. How about 12 to the 0? If you type that in, what are you going to get? It's also 1. How about the next one? 9999, so 9,999 to the power of 0? Well, that's also 1. What do you think anything to the power of 0 is? Well, it's going to be 1. Here's why. So let's say we had, I'll do my 4s. 4 to the 3rd power over 4 to the 3rd power. Well, using the quotient rule, we're going to subtract them. So 3 minus 3 is 0. But then if we go back to this problem right here, what is any number divided by itself? Well, that's 1. So 4 to the 0 power is 1. And it comes from taking any number and dividing it by itself. And that gets you the 0 power from here. And that equals 1. So anything to the 0 power is 1. The next rule is called power to a power, and that's what we're going to spend the rest of the hour on, and then look at some review problems. So power to a power. This is x to the 3rd power, but you're going to square it. What does that mean? Well, here's what it means. X to the 3rd times x to the 3rd. And then if you remember the product rule, what do we do with the 3 and the 3? We add them together. So this is x to the 6th. Let's try another one. X to the 10th 3 times. Then we're going to add all these 3 together. We get x to the 30th. Let's try another one. B to the 11th 4 times. And if we add them all up, we get b to the 44. So the question is, how do we get from the 3 and the 2 to the 6? The 11 and the 4 to the 44. The 10 and the 3 to the 30. Well, you can multiply. So if it's a power to a power, they're right next to each other, you can multiply. So this would be z to the 35th power. Now power to a power, let's first of all write it out. What's the shortcut instead of expanding? You can multiply the exponents. So this would be a to the m times n. When there's more than one base, you can do the same thing. So again, if you don't know how to do it, write it out. This is x to the 3rd y times x to the 3rd y. And then break it up. X to the 3rd, that's x to the 6th. We have a y and another y, that's y squared. So instead of writing it out, you can distribute and multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. This is y to the 1st power. 1 times 2 is 2. So to a power, you distribute. So again, let's say we don't know how to do it. Let's write it out. This is 10x squared, y to the 4th, 3 times. All right, let's do 10 times 10 times 10. That's 1,000. We have x squared, x squared, x squared. That's 2, 4, 6, x to the 6th. And we have 4, 8, 12, y to the 12th. The shortcut is distribute. So this would be 10 to the third power, which is 1,000. Then distribute 2 times 3 is x to the 6th. 3 times 4 is y to the 12th. And then 10 to the third is 1,000, and you have the rest of the exponents. So if it's a power to a power, we're going to distribute. For number 10, though, this is all I have. For number 10, do the inside of the fraction first, like order of operations. 14 divided by 2 is 7. You have 5 x's on top and 1 on bottom. So when you cancel, there's 4 left on top. And then it's squared. So again, distribute the squared. This is the same as 7 squared, x to the 8th. And 7 squared is 49, so go ahead and simplify that. So here's your final answer, 49x to the 8th. Let's do the next one. On the inside of the fraction, 5 divided by 10 is 1/2. 3 x's on top, 1 x on bottom. When you cancel, there's 2 x's left on top. And then we have this y here. So let's put this to the power of 5. Now let's distribute the 5 to all of the bases. So I'm going to show my work up here. 1 to the 5th power over 2 to the 5th power. 2 times 5 is 10. If it's just a y, that's y to the 1st power. 5 times 1 is 5. And then if we simplify, 1 to the 5th power is just 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That's just 1. X to the 10th, y to the 5th. But 2 to the 5th power is 32. So here's our final answer. So you have a mixture of these problems, all these rules here that you're going to practice today on the assignment. And again, day 3, we'll review the 5 rules and then look for mistakes in certain problems.